Kshama Mhatre from Court. I'm going to introduce her. Dr. Kshama Mhatre, popularly known as Dr. Didi, is the National Director of Court, Chinmaya Organization for Rural Development. Born on June 26, 1950 in Nagpur, Maharashtra, Kshama Didi graduated from Frank Anthony Public School, Delhi, and completed her MBBS and MD in Pediatrics from Maulana Azad Medical College and continued on to establish a very successful practice in pediatrics in Delhi. In spite of her success, Dr. Mhatre was greatly inspired by her father to live a life of simple living, high thinking and service to the nation. In a chance meeting with Master Swami Chinmayananda ji, Didi asked Gurudev what she can do to contribute to society. He simply said, take care of the people around Satpadi. Since then, Kshama Didi decided to give up her practice and worldly comfort to join the mission. Didi's work emphasis is placed on issues such as gender discrimination, HIV/AIDS and alcohol abuse awareness and treatment of alcoholics. Moreover, she has worked very closely with National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development and has been instrumental in establishing microcredit through self-help groups in 4 states of India. Since Gurudev inspired her, Didi has reached various villages and various thousands of people, approximately 25,000 people, directly around the state of Himachal Pradesh. Didi has won several awards and recognitions for contribution to the society, with the most prestigious Padma Shri Award given by the President of India in 2008 for social services. Let's all give a very warm welcome to Kshama.
I want to say that I'm in the presence of 2 of my favorite people. Adesh, my younger brother, whose loving presence is always very special, and my Didi, Kshama Didi, whose work I have watched with great admiration from the time the ashram came up in Satpadi. When these young girls that Kshama Didi was taking care of, first I saw them. Many of them could not speak with confidence. Many of them did not have the ability to really interact with others. There were not enough smiles. But today that whole place has got transformed, and I wish I had captured every year the video that I have been there. Just to see that whole place, it's a miracle in India that has happened. And the miracle is within each one of us. And Kshama Didi helped in people recognizing that you are a miracle waiting to happen to you. And she is such a wonderful Didi of ours, so let's really give her a big hand.
Today my voice is bad, so I'm so happy, Adesh. You've done the job. Now I can talk about God without feeling too guilty. But I was asked to see what inspired me, how did I come to what I do. So for the youngsters, I would like to share, Anil knows, he's heard it probably many times. When I was a medical student, a little younger than what you are today, we had a group of 8 friends. And we had 2 questions. It was, who are you? And what is love? The meetings used to be held in my hostel room, and we would not sleep the whole night. Next day in the morning, we would walk straight into our classes at 8 o'clock without having slept. Unfortunately for us, we just went round and round, round and round. We didn't know. We were brought up, like most of us are brought up, on a Western education, and had no exposure to Vedanta. So we were not satisfied with each other's answers. And it continued. I lost my best friend in the final year at Rishikesh, where she didn't go initially to actually find out about spirituality just because we were on medical strike. That was the doctor's strike in Delhi in 1974. Just to have fun because ashrams are free. And that night, Swami Chidananji spoke to her and she started dancing, and early in the morning they went to the Ganges and she said, I have the answer, I have the answer. And she drowned it. Because I don't want to tell the long story, but she drowned that day because of some, we were young and we were not too careful under the Ganges. So life went on. For me, her question had been answered, mine had not. I still was looking for an answer. I was not there with Swami Chidananji then. And ultimately, my luck, I met Param Pujya Gurudev and heard the Bhagavad Gita for the first time in my life from the Master himself. And it was like an avalanche. Pieces of jigsaw pieces, puzzle pieces getting together, all in place. I said, God, the answer was so simple, so easy. Exactly like what you were trying to convey to us just now. That it's all within us. We don't know. So that's how I met him. I was drawn to him like a magnet and I couldn't leave him. And I was given this job to start something for the people in Himalayas. So today what I would be really talking to you about is more about how does spirituality get manifested, because the first part of what spirituality is about in the workplace and how does one enter one's spirituality. Andesh, he has really talked very beautifully. I'm so happy that I was here. Gurudev used to say very often, managers learn to manage yourself. And I think this is a capsule, it's a mantra for all of us. When we try to sort of look into these words, we will derive from within ourselves. If we manage ourselves, meaning our own inner being, our thought processes, our desires, our being in the present, everything else will fall into place. All that we want, spirituality in workplace will begin by itself. Because when there is such great awareness within ourselves, if we are aware, then the rest of creativity, compassion, teamwork, lot of innovation, understanding everything happens. Another thing that I would like to talk about before I start about what we do is the fact that I had an opportunity very recently to have a meeting with the Cabinet Secretary of Bihar, with all the secretaries. He gave me that opportunity and they were discussing about the various programs. I chose Bihar because I wanted to understand what happens in a state that's struggling to meet the developmental indicators. And the crux of that whole talk that I understood was that we're doing very well, we're doing a lot of trainings, but how does one deliver what one wants to? How does one implement all those programs? And again I would say, it's easy. If we understand ourselves, once I understand myself, I understand everyone else. And then we begin to become very sensitive. Once that is the area, but I will now let me progress with what I wanted to tell you about God, and you all are coming to God. But it's about sensitivity. Unless we are sensitive about the many things that are happening together for something, and how does one address them all together, what is that one force that will make things happen? Next. India, you all know. Look at the purples. 1/3 of our districts are identified as remote backward areas. Okay, backward means, what does backwardness mean in this definition? I'll show you next. Scarcity of water or no water. Next. No poor connectivity. No phones, no mobiles, no networks, no post office, no banks. Poor health, poor nutrition. Next. Poor sanitation and hygiene. I mean, you know it all, but we see it every time in India, but we are not sensitive. Next. Poor education and facilities. Poverty with all its gamut of things that you can see with this young woman. She has a baby, you see, and then all that you can see. And then rampant corruption, exploitation of the poor, and the poor themselves are so apathetic, have become taken to subsidies as if it's their rights, the ignorance and the substance abuse that goes with it. Next, please. And a poor outreach and implementation of existing government programs, very poor local self-governance. And I want to talk about it because everything is about us. If I'm aware, I'm sensitive, none of these things need to occur. Next. Next, please. I'm an inspiration, and everyone's, many of us, our inspiration is here, I thought. Maybe some of you haven't seen Gurudev and Swamiji. So yes, then. Next, please. We started it as maternal and child health program. And next. We started training community health workers, nurses, traditional birth attendants, and guys. And they taught us many things. That's about spirituality. You keep listening. Being aware, you listen, you learn, you are open. Next. And I knew nothing is going to happen with the job that I was given of looking after rural health. Because people taught me that. And we listened to them. And they said, unless you address all this, you can fill up an ocean with tablets. Nothing, no help, no nothing is going to change. Next. So we start understanding macro realities. I'm trying to tell you that this is happening in the last 60 years because we are so insensitive. That there are parallel programs from all departments in the government, and you can see two red people, they are targeted. Every program is targeted to that person, below poverty line. But they all are in parallel, nothing reaches out, and I don't know where this crores and crores have gone. Next. The next, the other very poor management that is occurring, again because we are not aware, is that everyone is accountable to the boss, the policy maker. Even the extension workers of the government are reporting they want to make him happy. No one is worried about the community. So all the feedback that goes back to the policy makers. I happen to be also in the planning commission. And what I realized was, they get only that what makes them happy. And that's again unspiritual, to not give back the truth. What is the reality? Next. So what did we realize? We realized that unless people are at the center, nothing will happen. And when we say people are at the center, people too must unfold their potentials. They too have the creativity that Adarsh was talking about. They too have to understand the team spirit. They have to understand the silence within. They have to understand the passion, commitment, everything. And this is what we call a web-like management of governance, where the people are at the center, others are at the periphery. And I used to call it the web-like governance structure, but I had some people from the US who came to study it. They call it the holographic governance pattern. Next. And then you go about building capacity of people by taking them for what they really are. See, seva is not about looking down at someone. It's really about knowing everyone spiritually as divine personalities. Once we realize that, then our approach, our work, our interactions, their involvement, everything changes. Because work is not worship unless it's only half truth. Work is worship when surrendered to the Lord. Otherwise, we will only build up our egos. Work is worship and surrender to the Lord. Next. And that means surrender to the Lord means surrender to the divinity within each one. And so, what we decided was that everyone, whether they are related or not, have their own potential of becoming self-participatory. And so all programs they said they look after, there are lots of them are named here. Only few things that required specialized people like us for treatment, management, rehabilitation and their training was our responsibility. Yes, please.
What is CBR participation?
Community-based rehabilitation of the disabled. I don't want to go in details now because I know you all are coming there. Next. What makes people's potential come up? Participation. Unless we make people participate in everything, even a peon in your office, he owns, like the mother's ownership that he talked about in the corporate sector. So participation is very important. Integration, think very comprehensively, very holistically. Work towards sustainability, and sustainability comes really from, you can talk of many financial sustainability, program sustainability. To me, sustainability comes from my sustainable being. I'm sustainable. I'm divine. I am. So when that kind of security comes in, there's a lot more that will come. And networking. Networking is connecting. Everyone wants to do something. Reach out. Reach out to that beauty in each person. Next. But the real challenge, because you work in the system, it's not a void. It's about active development. It's about active participation. And the most important thing that you want to do in active participation is making people independent. And then interdependent. And then going beyond it. Jumping beyond it. But we are in the first phase. So it's process oriented. Involve people in the decision so that they own the program. Make sure that they contribute to the program financially as well as in their minds and innovation and decisions, everything else. Ownership, sustainability and responsibility will come. People then become the effective change agent. Believe in the people. Believe in the potential of the people. And also believe in the highest potential. Next. So, we are all about harnessing human resources and making people transform their lives by programs that are driven by them. Because we believe in the people. Next. And it's by active participation. Next. I want to share this because with very few people at very low cost, we are working in more than 700 villages and reaching out to 4 states in India. Next. Next. Next, please. Get people involved. I said that in the beginning. Women, men, farmers, girls, adolescent girls, youth, children, don't devote anyone. Get them involved and get them involved ultimately in the final unit of governance in India, and that is the Panchayati Raj institution. Because lots of money is there, it's not only utilized. Next. This is what I'm talking about governance. I want people to say कि शिमला दिल्ली में हम चुनते सरकार पर गांव में हम सरकार.